guys, my name's Steve, and today we are going to be touching up the bootleg King Ghidorah. Wasn't even sure if I was going to film this, because this is actually probably going to be a fairly simple process. Because for it being a bootleg, it's all still really rough and doesn't feel super finished. So I'm not too worried. It's kind of like what we did with the previous one. I'm not too worried about primering it. That and the base color, I actually don't mind. Because all I'm going to really do is just be spraying it with some pearl acrylic paint that I went and picked up. So we're going to try this paint, see how it sticks. Hopefully it does pretty well. Use this stuff to touch up one of the Sailor Moon figures that I got. Because, what was it? Well, not the bootleg. It was the Comic-Con version of Imposter Moon. Came in, had a problem with like slight discoloration on the arms, and I had to fix the two joints anyways. Oh no, actually, you know what it was? It was the joint was broke, and I had to swap it out with another one, and to match the coloring, I had to use pearl paint. So I just sprayed it with some of this, and it worked out pretty well on that figure. So we're gonna try it on this, and it's a little more brightly colored. So when spraying on here, it should hopefully give it a nice effect. I'm using pearl instead of metallic because it's it still has like the metallic look to it, but it's a lot softer than say what you would be using if you were just using like a straight metallic paint. And on a smaller figure, I think that would work pretty well. Then I also seen, if you guys, I know a lot of people comment on it, but the people that do the MonsterArts website, they painted one themselves, and it was using pearl, and it looked good. And initially I was kind of thinking the same thing, but they kind of confirmed it, so I'm just gonna go with that. So props to them for that. Make sure to go check out their stuff. It's pretty sweet. Really the only dedicated MonsterArts site. So yeah, so pretty much just gonna be doing a little bit of airbrushing, and then I'm not sure about the heads yet because I don't know if I really want to go hard in the detailing them. I probably will, because I definitely want to at least fix the fuzz to make it look a little bit more closer to the movie. But I don't know, I kind of like the eyes and stuff on it, so we'll see. I mean, this might be like a dry brush onto it, just to get the metallic, the pearl look onto it. But for the most part, we'll come back to that. But I'm going to start with the wings, see how it sticks onto that and looks, and then if I like it, we'll move on to the rest of the figure. If I don't, I'll have to figure out something new. But painting this thing regardless. Also, real quick, I actually got some little latex gloves so I can paint with. Just so I'm not going to paint all of my fingers, which I don't really mind because, like I said, I work with a lot of acrylics and stuff comes off pretty easy anyways. But try it for this one. But I made a kaiju girl. I didn't film it, sadly. I thought it actually turned out pretty good. What it is just a bootleg Supersonico that we did a long time on the channel, and a Shin Godzilla vinyl, and then just kind of chopped it up, made it look. My goal was to make it look like a cosplay, or like something you'd see like maybe like on Instagram, like a girl's making like a cutesy little Shin Godzilla cosplay. Was the game plan for this. I do actually have a plan on making a video of one that I'm going to take more seriously, I guess. It's not going to be like a cosplay. It's literally like I'm going to try and make it like what I see like a lot of. Generally, when the people do like the kaiju girls in Godzilla, make it look like cooler. Well, this is meant to be like super cutesy, which I think didn't turn out too bad. And I kind of like the foam in there and stuff because it makes it again look more like a cosplay. But she's still like posable and stuff, so you can play around with it. It's just like the way I had to do the back and stuff. Like the head doesn't really get to move that much, but still get a little bit of play with it. But if you guys be interested in a video like this is actually pretty simple for most anybody to do. It's just a little bit more dangerous because you have to use an X-Acto knife to carve all the stuff out, so you have to be careful with that. But it is a fun little exercise, and you don't really need paint or anything. It's just a lot of just applying and gluing, which with the vinyl actually sticks really well. Plus you can pick up this bootleg pretty cheap, so I wouldn't mind doing more videos if you guys would be interested in that, and Supersonico makes for a pretty good base. back. It's been actually a couple days. Me painting. Last thing I got done is I started actually doing the tail bits. As you can see here. Here is main body so far. Super shiny gold. It's not quite like a super vibrant gold. It's a little bit on the duller side. But still, like, depending on where the light reflects off it, looks really nice. You can see with the wings too. Not sure if we do any shading on it. Maybe a little bit. Highlighting around the wings here. But we'll get to that once I get the thing fully painted. We'll figure out exactly some of the spots that needs to be touched up a little bit here and there. Because you can still see a little bit of like the black lines showing through the back here. But still looks pretty nice. Looks like I might have to like go over it a little bit more, some of the gold once I get it fully done. But right now, pretty happy with it. So once I get that set up, I'm just gonna sit here and start finishing up painting up the stuff. Pretty basic. Once I get this section done, we'll start working on the next. To the home stretch of painting this stupid thing. Oh, like, man, it's gonna look great when it's done, but guys, this one stupid time-consuming process. It's not even that complicated. Like, it's literally just spraying each individual joint. I gotta spray it twice, but it's just like trying to get Ghidorah off the thing. Like, say. He's a Showa variable, but like this is as far as I got in pretty much like this is like day number 4 of me spending like a decent amount of time on it. But got the second to last head sprayed with the gold down to the last head. But I wanted to show you guys how how to disassemble this, because a lot of this is mostly like I skipped a lot of it because it's all pretty much the same process here. Last time my pogo's coming down. But I don't know if you guys can see it. Also, my airbrush is still down there. But when painting this, generally you'd want to primer this entire thing before you start painting it. So you want to actually primer this. I would say depends how bright you want it. Like if you want it bright, I'd go with a white primer, which might be kind of cool. But for the most part, like a standard primer would be fine. Because like the paint that I'm using, because I like to use acrylic paints a lot, and I know some people complain about me using the cheap stuff, but like it works. Like most of like the actual like official model paint that I'd be using stuff is still acrylic based anyway, so it's like, what do you freaking do? Might as well save myself a bunch of that, and I use a lot of airbrushing anyway, so I'd have to mix it down anyways. So for the most part, like this bottle here is like $5, but it's like the only thing I could really find in town that was like pearl, which is what I was looking for. But the point I'm getting to is that it's not great at doing coverage in one shot. Which I don't know if you guys can see, but you can definitely tell like the teeth are still painted on here. And underneath the mouth section is definitely a different color than what it should be. You can still see some of the original pink kind of showing through. But for like this build, what I'm doing, I don't think it's quite necessary. Because for the most part, I do, for each of these sections, I've been doing 2 layers of paint anyways. So it's one layer of paint to get somewhat paint down on it. And then something for the next layer to adhere to. Plus it starts brightening up the colors. Which for the most part, as you can see, like the original color for this isn't that bad. It's not even like super far off. I just kind of want to lighten it a little bit and make it metallic. So 2 layers of just adding on to this does the trick. Now for the extra colors, it's not going to do anything, but that's fine. We're going to paint over that with different darker colors anyway, so it's like what you do. So for the most part, I don't think you really need to primer this, but if you want to be a little bit more professional about it than the way I'm going about it, you could. But for this, I don't think it's quite super duper necessary for what I'm doing. Then it kind of gives it a little bit more like that old Showa kind of look to it anyways, if it's not super duper clean. But anyways, I want to show you guys how I have been having to disassemble this thing. For the most part, this Doggy You're Loud hasn't really required heat, but you just kind of start popping sections off, and you'll see got this guy here, which I'm trying to angle this so maybe I can see that a little better. Okay, it's hard to see on the camera. But each of these actually go over top of the joint here, which is a little weird. So I have this fancy little small pliers here. This one's got a bit of a rounded edge to it. This one's like your standard plier. This one's actually really great in getting in between the joints and working those off. You're going to want to make sure that you keep your joint together with the segment of the Ghidorah, because these are numbered, and then the joints do get smaller as you progress. So the top ones are a little bit of a smaller joint, so you have to kind of worry about that. But I definitely gotta say you're gonna need a tool to pop these apart, because I tried heating it up and all that did was just kind of slide these over top, which I guess you could just pop these all off and just leave the joints there and just start sleeving them over top at the end if you really wanted to. But I like doing it this way when I paint, because then it gives the pliers something to grab onto while I'm painting, which is nice. But I gotta say, I do love this little thing. And then just been using the one I've been painting on. One thing I found out too is that the tongue's actually articulated on this, but because of the way they painted it, it kind of glued itself. That and actually doing this, I kind of tore one of these off already. Which looks like what I'm going to be doing here too. So for the most part, like, it has a ball joint there, but on mine, outside of like one of the tons, it was useless. So I just been breaking them off, painting it, and then re-gluing the ton on. But outside of that, it's the only thing I've really been damaging loosely as I've been painting this. But now it's just picking each one of these up, putting 2 layers of paint on them, and then I'll show you guys how I've been doing the faces. Alright, so next we gotta get this Ghidorah back over here. Because we will be painting the face. Which you guys can see. I'll show it better later, but for the most part I'm trying to do a hybrid of alright, so I'm probably gonna butcher the name. I know it's Kaizo. Kaizo Murase did a replica of the original King Ghidorah head. That's what I'm replicating the look of for the most part, at least for the eyes. To me in the film, the replica kind of looks like myself being a ginger. There's a lot of oranges and reds. But like if you look at the X pluses, there are a lot of like dark browns and blacks for the fuzz around the neck region here. But when I look at the movie, it almost looks like a light brown. So that's what I'm going with. So I'm kind of doing a mix between the two. So doing like the red, the black, and then giving it a white pupil like you see on the replica. And then doing a lighter brown in the back section here. Which I'm going to grab my one I've been doing my painting on. But I've been using just a true red paint, true red acrylic. Don't need a whole lot of any of this stuff. I need a gloss red, gloss black. I also try to keep these paints close to each other, so I know which ones are gloss and which one isn't, without having to look at it. Gloss white, golden sunset. Torrential beige is the shade of brown that I'm using. I guess you could call it a brown. I actually been kind of slightly mixing it with this the sunset, and also going to need some yellow flame for the teeth.
done. So here's King Ghidorah fully painted up. As you guys can see, super duper gold. Again, for the most part, for this paint job, pretty simplistic stuff. Didn't even really need to primer it because the undercoat, for the most part, worked pretty well. So we're just trying to brighten it up with the gold paint that we were using. You can't really see anything left from the original coat. It's like possibly right there, but I kind of think it's just the lighting kind of playing with me. Because when you get it to certain angles, it's normal gold. But the lighting with the back of the wings. So for the most part, all the original shading's all gone. Because again, used a couple of layers of coat to cover this section up. The wings, on the other hand, were about 4 layers of paint, and then we lacquered it up a few times. It's got about 3 coats of lacquer on it, so this stuff ain't scuffing. I'm not worried about that. Same with the figure. Be able to articulate this guy now without having to worry about stuff chipping off, which is really nice. I do like the use of the coloring they use. Like, it's probably like a little too bright, if I do have one critique after getting this guy done. But for the most part, like, it still works pretty well for me. And yeah, using the pearl paint actually worked really well because he's got a nice metallic shine to it, but it's not like overbearing like it would be with just a standard metallic. Because for the most part, like, the wings are shiny. The shine on the figure is nice, but it's not, again, not super illuminescent. So it's got enough of a shine to it from the metallic flake, but it's not trying to think of the best way to put it. It's not glittery, which is what I wanted. You can see here with the faces, especially, that it's got a nice shine to it, but it's still got a little bit of like more antique-y feel to it, which I really like, because with him being like a 60s kaiju, I think it works with the aesthetics. Same with the hair. Decided to keep it a lighter shade because I thought it just matched the look of the film a little bit better. That, and with the what I was going for with this, again, is based off of the replica model. So that's why I decided to give Ghidorah some pupils. And then went with a lighter shade and even added some reds to the coloring with that autumn color. But still kind of went with a little bit of the brown just to kind of match the film a little bit better. For the inside of the mouth, we got nice blood red color. Did some yellow for the teeth to match the look. Because for the most part, it kind of seems like Ghidorah's teeth are still kind of gold. But it seemed kind of odd for a monster, so I decided to just stick with the yellow. But overall, pretty happy with it. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think of the paint job. I also super glued the wings in, so these things aren't gonna come out anymore, which is what I wanted. Because it's not like this guy had a box originally, so he ain't ever going back in, if you know what I'm saying. Then I kind of like looking at it, like the tails definitely look gold. Although after watching the movie, I realized that tail is totally not right. For what I've seen, anyways, it should only be like a circle of spikes and not a flaring of spikes, if you will. Well, then I guess like technically the wings are round too, but still looks great. Like, still looks like a Showa Ghidorah. But again, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. Are you guys interested in trying to paint one of these yourselves? Definitely let me know down there. And help us defeat those kaijus by hitting the like button, subscribe, and come ranger today. Next one, I know we're going to be painting the Indominus. I know I need to do another diorama at some point. Once I get like a good idea on how I want to do one, we'll get around to it. And see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.